ngoba kukhulu esifuna ukwenza ukulungisa izwe lethu asikwazi ukubukela abantu abayizigebengu.
Hello there, guys, and welcome to Daily Updates. It is the second week since the announcement of the results by the IEC, and we are facing a huge conundrum as the political parties are still struggling to decide on how they are going to constitute their government. The ANC is caught between a rock and a hard place as they are looking to decide on pleasing their masters and going with the flow of the rest of the people, especially the majority of the black people who say that the GNU, the Government of National Unity, is not going to be a good solution if you have different ideologies, the DA, the ANC, the EFF. So they say that we rather go with ANC, EFF, and MK because the ideologies are the same. And it is becoming a difficult choice for the ANC as the president of the ANC, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, announced that they are going forward with negotiations into forming a government of national unity. On the other hand, the DA says, I don't have the problem with working with the ANC. My only issue is that I cannot work with the EFF, the Red Beret, and I cannot work with the MK, the Green Soldiers. If I am to work with them, I am pulling out because for me it's not going to be beneficial with those two leaders. They are comfortable working with the ANC, but not the rest of the other guys. On the other hand, Julius Malema says that I can work with the ANC, I can let Ramaphosa be a president, but what I'm not going to do, it is to work with the enemy, referring to DA John Steenhuisen, that they are not willing to work with the DA because if you look back before the elections, the DA declared the EFF their number one enemy. So now Julius Malema says they are our enemy since they declared us as the enemy. So we are not willing to work with them. If the ANC decides to put the DA into the picture, we are pulling out because it is not going to be favorable for the EFF. And along comes the MK who are saying that we don't have a problem negotiating and working together. Our problem is that we cannot have Ramaphosa as the president. If we are to have MK, EFF, and ANC coalition, it means Ramaphosa has to step aside so that the rest of the people can work together. It is non-negotiable for the MK because if you put Ramaphosa in the picture, the negotiations are done. They are not proceeding with whichever decisions that ANC would be looking to reach. As this problem continues, we have MK challenging the IEC in court, saying that court needs to look at how IEC ran these elections because there were a lot of problems that IEC did not address. There were a lot of allegations of rigging and votes being stolen. Now, IEC did not really attend to these matters and address them to the best of their ability. So MK is saying that the courts need to be involved so that they can give a direction on how these elections are going to be done. Actually, they went further to say that if the 58 members of the MK do not attend the first sitting of parliament, it means that the parliament won't be able to choose a president because they will be lacking the members of the MK party. And the secretary of parliament actually came to the rescue saying that we only need 134 members to be able to vote. As long as we have those, then we can continue. Zuma interjects by saying that we are going to make sure that we head for a re-election because no one is satisfied, and we are going to make sure that this is a re-election. If it means we have to go to the courts and force them to do a re-election, it must be done. And IEC, on the other hand, says that we have no problem. Re-election would be our duties, but we are going to need about 90 days to go back and do a re-election. Now, the question that we have is that, is a re-election a good choice for what we are facing? When you look at all the issues that we have, one can say that the people of South Africa did not really vote correctly because we voted, but we did not give someone an outright majority, which gave us an issue of who do I talk to, the issue of coalition. Now, what we have here is that if these parties go into coalition, you must expect that there are going to be a lot of problems. If they can find each other now, definitely they are not going to find each other, even if they decide to work with each other. You are going to see clashes where political party leaders are not going to be agreeing with each other. The issue of Johannesburg, the city of Johannesburg that we see, it is going to repeat itself because where there is power, there is a lot of arguments. Now, we are going to see people fighting each other, and we might even go back to voting again before even 2 years could be passed because egos are going to clash. Now, is re-election the best way to go since, well, we don't have an outright majority? And what we know is that if we go to re-election, it is going to be a competition between three parties. We're going to have the MK party, the ANC, and the DA. It is going to be a good competition between those three because people will be looking to be voting for the MK party to say that let us increase what we gave the MK party. There would be some who say that, well, the ANC nearly got where we wanted them to go. Let us give them more votes so they can go to 45, and then we won't have to worry about the issue of coalition or an issue of GNU. While on the other hand, the DA, the people might say that we nearly gave it to the DA. Let us increase. Or there might be people who say that I regret voting for the DA. I'm making a change since, well, I realized voting for the DA could give birth to what happened in 1994, where we had the government of national unity. And on the other hand, a party like the EFF would be really looking to gain more votes as compared to how they performed with 9%. They will be trying to reinforce their strategy going into a re-election, trying to go as far as above 15% so that they can have a decision if it happens that the ANC goes to 45. Now, that might cost a lot of money, a re-election for South Africa. But the question is, costing a lot of money and having a government that has no direction in few years to come when these guys are trying to work together, which one are we going to pick? Because what we see now is just the tip of the iceberg. We are going to see something that we have never seen before, where each and every month there are arguments in terms of who should be the leader, who should be reshuffled. If these people cannot come to a common sense and agree with each other, nothing will ever come right under what we have now. A re-election, as expensive as it is, could probably be the solution. But we are not 100% sure in terms of it being a solution. One wonders, why can these people not work together to avoid all the problems that we're having? Of course, the issue of GNU will not work in South Africa. It definitely is not going to work. But if MK, EFF, and ANC were going to sit down and work together, that would probably bear fruits for the people of South Africa. But since there are leaders who don't agree with each other, it gives us a problem. Now we head to the opportunity of saying that maybe re-election, it is the best available solution to South Africa. Should we go the route of re-electing leaders, or is that a route of re-electing not going to change anything? Because remember, we can go and vote, and at the end of the day, we might not even have an answer. We might have ANC still sitting on 40% and the rest of them sharing them. Or we might even go as far as ANC gaining 50% and the storm will be over. Because ANC is praying that whatever they have becomes their advantage. And if they are going to go to a re-election, ANC will work hard to make sure that those who did not vote for them will end up voting for them, which results in the rest of the party regretting taking the route of re-election. It can work both ways. But for the people of South Africa, what we are afraid of is going into a government that will be declared a disaster. We don't want to see a government that is similar to what the Zimbabweans have, where we had leaders who kept on fighting and could not work together. At the end of the day, it is the people of South Africa and the economy that suffers.